Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and I decided to just do this one live because F it, we'll do it live. It's like my favorite live screw up. Um, yeah, so Luke Cage season two. I watched it not last night, but the night before. I want to take a day to process it. You know what I'm saying? Fantastic season. As good as the first, probably yeah, yeah. Uh, not that it didn't have, not that it had more awesome moments in the first one. Not that it had the nostalgia that the first one had, but the first season had a couple of low points in it where it's like, okay, you're clearly just dragging this out. Like this could have been eight, maybe nine episodes, and you decide to drag it out to 13. You know, this one with 13 episodes, I'm like, dude, they could have made that go longer. There was a great story here. They did not spoil it, guys. You know, this is like all spoilers, right? They did not kill the main bad guy, Cottonmouth. By the way, check out 10 Things About Cottonmouth in about a minute. Oh my God. It was an amazing, and I know that the accents weren't perfect, but remember, most people in the world can't handle a true Jamaican accent. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like, oh my God, what the f is going on here? So, having something like this instead, this worked because enough of us were able to understand what's going on. Like seriously, guys, think about that. People in England, do you think they're going to understand what was going on there? Figures you're here, Raven. What's going on, man? Um, yeah, it took me several days to watch it. I was actually at a country cottage con second annual when this actually dropped, so I couldn't watch it over that weekend. And then during the course of the week, I'd watched like two or three episodes with the wife. My wife loved it. You know what I'm saying? Really, for all intents and purposes, a really excellent season. So some of the cool point, and I didn't make a list or anything. I'm literally just like, I'm here. It's freaking 4 a.m. over here in Toronto. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm sitting here. I'm eating some candies. I'm reading a digital comic book, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just get this Luke Cage season two thing done. So this is gonna be more of my feelings on it as opposed to breaking down individual things. What do we have here? We have Luke Cage. He's in his relationship with Claire Temple. Rosario Dawson, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous, and she's only there for a very short period of time. Start throwing some Easter eggs at me, Raven, so I can comment on them. Very short period of time she's in there, and then she leaves. Luke Cage goes and punches a wall, and I'm just like, ooh, yeah. And I'm thinking he could have just destroyed this wall. It must have been reinforced or something like that, because he takes a couple of swings at it. I'm just like, I can tell you from experience, I used to be a kid and I was heavily into the martial arts. I could do that to a wall. Especially like that's in New York City, man. Come on now. We all know those walls aren't that thick. I've since grown up. I do not punch walls anymore. But that being said, sheetrock, man. Come on. Him getting angry like that, it showed a more human side of him. You know, when you are the big guy, it's hard to, mm, it's hard to put yourself in the smaller person's situation, the smaller person's position. When you're like I'm 6'5" myself. When I'm walking in a crowded area and I want to go someplace, I can get to that place. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a pretty thick crowd, I can get to that place. The I try to keep a straight line. I try to keep my mentality. I look at where I'm going so that other people, when they look at my eyes, that okay, and they'll move because they can see where I'm going, where I'm intent on going, and boom, boom, boom. It makes life a lot easier. But if I just stop in a crowd, like people are gonna, bump, and it's gonna be messed up. And that's the thing. Luke Cage hasn't gotten that. Like he's always been obviously a big guy. He's been a sheriff. He's known power. But this kind of power, that superhero power, where let's face it, there's that point where they said, "Oh, hey man, who could win? You were the big green guy. Luke Cage ain't gonna be able to take down the Hulk. Like that would be really cute. That would be really fun. And the comic books, I'm sure that depending on the writer, they would make it a good match. I think it was cute when he went after the Juggernaut and pretty much won. Um, but for the most part, nah, man. Like Luke Cage is not going to be able to take on the Hulk. He's not even going to take on the Hulk. God forbid, actually beat him. To get into some of the spoilers, I wouldn't really call an Easter egg, but yeah, like Raven is suggesting, the situation where all of a sudden Danny Rand shows up, that was awesome. Because I mean, I'm sitting here watching. It's like, oh, I'm going to call on Danny Rand. Hey, can I borrow your suite? Okay, cool, man. I really appreciate that. And here's his pharmaceutical place, and he's gonna take it over there. And I'm like, is Danny Rand going to come? No, he's not. Ah, that's just messed up. They're just using his name. Oh, well, fine, whatever. And all of a sudden, this next episode, Danny Rand shows up for the whole entire episode. I'm like, oh yes, and he looked good, man. He looked good. My wife's like, oh, he's cute. I'm like, woman, what? I'm like, fine, Misty Knight's sexy. Now what? So, um, it was I don't know. It was fun. It was probably, in my opinion, probably the best version of Danny Rand that we've seen. Uh, Better than the Defenders, yeah, in many ways. Better than the Iron Fist season one, yes, absolutely. Season one of Iron Fist was good. It was definitely better than okay. It was good. It wasn't great though. It was easily the weakest of the four characters that debuted: Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Power Man, Luke Cage, and then Danny Rand himself. Then they went to, well, they did season two of Daredevil, and then they did the Defenders. So yeah, it was the weakest of them all. And then of course it was really weird that they focused the Defenders story on Danny Rand's story, in and of itself. So it was almost like a continuation of that with friends, and that was a bit annoying. Excuse me. So that kind of brought it down, since it's like the show that had the lowest ratings had and the lowest opinion rate had the focus of this. Oh, there were only like eight episodes of Defenders. So yeah, hi. Here's Danny Rand leading the Defenders team, kind of. At least his story is. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. We did get to see he and Luke Cage together, which was awesome. And in this, they were pretty much calling themselves heroes for hire in this one episode, and it was fantastic. It was great seeing them together like that. Power man, talking about, no, man, money's power. But look at where he comes from. You know what I'm saying? He comes from really horrible, squalid conditions. All right, he comes from like prison. You know what I'm saying? Where your commissary is the most important thing to you. It's the thing that can get you in or keep you out of trouble. So I get it. I 100% get it. And then to have Danny Rand's viewpoint on it. No, man, money isn't true power. Having balance, having focus, being centered. It's funny. The things that you don't have are the ones that are the things that you consider power. So back to the old concept of the grass is always greener on the other side. Yes. Um, further further commentary about it. It was interesting seeing Mariah Dillard's Stokes. Mariah Stokes. That was awesome. But seeing her take on Danny Rand also. Would you like a drink, Mr. Rand? She's like trying to show that she's civil, even though she's getting ready to kill Luke Cage if only she could. That was uncomfortable. And if that was uncomfortable, I'm gonna have to say that that was a commentary on privilege. Don't anybody get their panties in an uproar. It's literally just something that I'm commenting on. You know what I'm saying? If you feel uncomfortable, it usually means somebody's calling out something that, whether it's true or not, that's their viewpoint on it. So I looked at that and I was like, yeah, I don't see that ever happening to me. But I also don't have the money that Danny Rand would have in real life, IRL. So there's that. Um, it was weird, to say the very least. I'm like, I don't know if that's in character for her, but whatever. Black Mariah, right? Back in the days. So Mariah Dillard, Okay, again, here comes a big spoiler. She was killed at the end of this by her daughter, the the deadly Nightshade, who is in and of herself a fantastic character. It's not like a huge character. It's not a big deal in the Marvel universe, but she's a big enough character. It's somebody like I recognized her. Enough comic book fans can be like, hey, wait a second, Tilda Johnson. I know that name. Hey, they're talking about Nightshade. Yes, she's the deadly Nightshade. Okay, I get it. Now, she's actually a fantastic martial art, and I didn't make a 10 things about. I wanted to, and I just couldn't. I just didn't have the time to. But Deadly Nightshade is basically a martial artist, and she's effing awesome. She's a power in and of herself, but she's ridiculously smart. So, two things about that. One, she knows to make sure she teams up with somebody else almost always, and she's really good at it. Like she knows how to work in a really good dynamic with other people. On top of that, she's also smart enough to know when she's wrong, which is impressive. But as far as being wrong, she's a genius. She can take technology that's already existed and then rebuild it, improve it, do something new with it. That's what she does. That's what she loves. So she's amazing at all those things. Female Batman, maybe, maybe. I don't know how good she is at being a detective, but hey, maybe. Some things that bothered me about this season. Probably the thing that bothered me the most, and it's not even a huge thing. Oh, by the way, you can go and check out Bushmaster, 10 Things About Bushmaster, if you want to know more about him. But one of the things that bothered me was family first, always. Like they really tried to push that a little bit too hard. You know what I'm saying? Literally, like this is the worst thing I could say about the entire season. My opinion is that they just pushed that too hard. Look, the thing in the first season with Pops, uh, always forward, never back, forward, always. That sounded great. Plus, it was Pops saying it. Pops has a great voice. You know, there's certain people you want to narrate your life. You know, Patrick Stewart, Morgan Freeman. There's some people with great voices. Luke Cage's father, who I can't remember the actor's name, but he died. Like they had the memorial at the very end, like in loving memory of, and like, oh, my wife and I both at the same time. Oh, come on, no! Like that was so sad. Like, so it makes sense why he just kind of dipped out in the middle of it. That was very sad. Like this is a totally awesome. He was a really good actor. I hated him when they wanted me to hate him. I was suspicious when they wanted me to like him. You know what I'm saying? So fantastic character, perfect character to have in there. Very sad that he died, man. Ah, wow. He added so much to this season, so much. Even the first season, such a great influence, you know. So and of course his dealing with Mariah, that little bit of a dealing that he had with Mariah, it was like, don't trust her. Oh my God, she's the devil. You read about her in your book, dude. She was so bad. But Mariah Dillard Stokes is not Pops. So her constantly saying family first, always, it got grating. Okay, grating is the word you use when you're talking about nails on a chalkboard. You know what I'm saying? No, I could it literally, like, it wasn't enough that I was like, oh my God, fast forward through it because it was so short. But it got me. If their intent was to make me hate Mariah more, congratulations. That made me hate her more than her turning around and killing everybody in the jerky factory. You know what I'm saying? The jerk cafe, whatever that thing was called. Man, like just oh, family first, always. So horrible. But her character, first off, the actress is unbelievable. On top of that, the character itself, the character herself, was really well thought out. All right, she wasn't perfect. She wasn't a perfect bad guy. She wasn't perfect anything. She was just an imperfect being who was trying really hard to reach for that top shelf, and she had it. And what was the one thing that wrecked her? She was going to new levels, new plateaus. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that wrecked her was her past. The thing that wrecked her was trying to maintain the good name of the family when, for the most part, who cares? Now, is Tilda going to wind up doing the same thing? Deadly Nightshade going to do the same thing in season three? Maybe. And that would be a pretty interesting aspect if she suddenly saw, because, mom's evil. Well, you're about to become evil too. Plus, you just murdered your mom, dude. I can understand hating your parents if, like depending on how bad they were. And having Mariah as a mother, having your mother sitting there say, I never loved you, oof. And commentary on that. My wife talked about that. She went through a little bit of postpartum, and it wasn't major at all. It wasn't major at all. Like she's read about, and therefore we've read about cases so much worse. In all honesty, postpartum being what it is, like it's a real thing. When you don't have that connection, it's something, and it happens mostly with women who have cesareans. They just don't get that attachment to the kid. Plus, a lot of this is mostly happening because, like, I don't mean this to be a discussion on that, but like epidurals and things like that, taking away that pain that the woman is feeling. Look, I'm not here to say epidurals are a bad thing. I'm not here to do that, but the correlation is obvious. The correlation has been commented on. No definitive proof. I'm simply saying what I'm saying here. I'm saying what I've read. All right. I'm saying what I've experienced based on what I've read. What I've seen. The epidural taking away the pain, like the idea of just having that pain of having a child, going through all that, and then, oh, it's over, the final push, calm down, and then that baby is like cleaned off a little and then put in the mother's arms, and it's like, it was all worth it. But if it's just like, I'm barely conscious for this, and then they cut open my abdomen, pull out the what do you call it? The sac, basically the womb, cut that open also, and then pull it out. Oh, let me wipe it down and give it to dad. Sorry, mom, we've got to sew you up first. And she's barely conscious the whole time. Yeah, can you see? You know what I'm saying? Like it's a messed up thing. So her saying, I tried to love you, but I just don't. I don't love you at all. It was cold. It would have been, think about that, it would have been so much more heartfelt, and Tilda would have, like, she was already crying. She was cried Mariah's sense of what she went through, and Mama Mabel's way of explaining things, her ruthlessness. Yeah, man, that's messed up. So Mariah simply didn't have the tools to bond with her daughter. Granted, we can just chalk this all up to the fact that she's evil. She's evil. But it's not just about that, man. It's about so much more. So that was probably my favorite part. And only because my wife, she's like, pause, like, for crying out loud, psh, what? And we started talking about it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Wow. So then listening to the rest of it, watching the rest of it, that was something else, man. That was seriously something else. So we talked about the accents. We talked about that. Luke Cage at the end. He's even called, D-Dub calls him Corleone, from Francis Ford Coppola's rendition of Mario Puzo's novels, The Godfather. So that end where Misty Knight, oh my God, she's gorgeous, closing the door, or the door being closed, and she's on this side, and she sees Luke, and he's listening to somebody. You're almost seeing him like, you come over here on the day of my daughter's wedding, and you asked me to kill a man. Why do you disrespect me like this? You didn't invite me when your daughter was born, when your children were born. You didn't invite me and my wife over for apple pie. You didn't do that. Instead, you were embarrassed by us. I mean, like, I could do this all day. Those first two movies, amazing. And I actually liked the third movie, but I loved the first two. Oof. So Marlon Brando, man, I'm telling you, this guy's amazing. So when you have this dynamic and it's played over so perfectly, it's like, whoa, that was frightening. I almost felt like they stretched out the ending too long, but it was all necessary because it all gave just enough. Talk about an Easter egg when Tilda Johnson came walking in and you saw the double poofy bun. You know what I'm saying? Close together. I'm like, that is Deadly Nightshade. That's awesome. I flipped my lid when I saw that. That was so perfect. This was an amazing second season. Wow, better than the first. Like, I like the first season of Daredevil better. I like the first season. I haven't even finished the first season of, the second season of Jessica Jones. It's not that it's boring. It's just it's not. It is what it is, man. I got to go and watch the rest of that because why wouldn't I? But this second season of Luke Cage was so good, and I'm not gonna lie, man. I practically stood up and started dancing when Kool Moe Dee hit the stage in that last episode. Because I grew up like Kool Moe Dee was it. I'm like, oh my god! Did I see? Oh, wow, I did this. I did this in the podcast today. Not Kool Moe Dee. Sorry, KRS-One. That's who I grew up with. Yeah. Once knew a guy. His name was Peter. Had to bust him down with my 9mm. That guy. When Kool Moe Dee and KRS-One had a war with each other way back in the day. Of course, KRS-One had a war with the guys from. He had one with LL Cool J, and he had one with who were those guys? The one big dude, PM Dawn. He had a problem with PM Dawn. He had a problem with a whole bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? Went to their concerts and messed with them. Just, man, forget about it. KRS-One had an incredible life. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, when he came out and he just started rapping, like, oh, what? That was great. So he is now in charge of, Luke Cage is now in charge of Harlem's Paradise. He is essentially the Black Godfather. Is he going to be evil? Of course not. Of course not. But he will be corrupted. He will be tainted. He already had that. Like, you remember that one part where Sugar came in and he's like, hey, so Claire's here. What should I, or hey, she's here. What should I tell? And we only saw Tilda walk in. So it's like, maybe there's going to be negotiation, right? Because she was mad that she didn't get Harlem's Paradise. When he's like, tell Claire to go home. It's like, oh, wow. That was the big, idea that he doesn't want her there because she's the positive influence in his life. And if he's going to fix Harlem, he's got to delve into his deeper aspects. So, listen, all of us who are comic book fans, who went and read the not Dark Apprentice, what was it? When Dark Jedi? Come on. When Luke Skywalker decided that the only way that he could fix or get rid of the Empire was to destroy it from within. So he decided to become the new emperor of the Empire. And while he was in there, it turns out, hey, Palpatine is actually still alive. And they had their battle that way. And he's like, oh, you're going to become my new Dark Apprentice. And it's like, oh my God, what the heck is going on? I can't believe this. Anyway, yeah, that was Vincent Franklin. What's up, dude? I really have to check it out. Oh, you didn't see it yet? That sinks. That doesn't stay up here long enough. But what do you call it? Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. It felt like that Star Wars comic book story where he's going to go in and he's going to be influenced by somebody. Now, who's it actually? Because mind you, the end of this, my wife goes and says, did Luke ever take over Harlem's Paradise in the comics? I'm like, well, first off, there was no Harlem's Paradise. It wasn't like that, okay? The really cool part that we had in this season and the previous season was that that he was headquartered in a cinema, okay? He had an old abandoned movie theater that he was actually he was living in. Kind of like Bulletproof Monk, all right? That was actually still in service. This one was not. So that was the Easter egg for us comic book readers. Mr. Fish is a freaking comic book fan. Like, he was actually a bad guy. He was a giant fish, but Bobby Fish, on the other hand, is amazing. Apparently, he's in this TV show called This Is Us, and my wife loves it. She's like, oh my God, I cried every time I watch that. You should watch with me. I was like, woman, I don't want to cry. What's the matter with you? I have no interest in crying. So, I will never watch that show. I'll get suckered into watching one of these days. The point is, I haven't watched it yet. And Bobby Fish is a totally awesome character here. In the comics, he was a throwaway. Now, one of the other things that I don't know that I hated, but it was very weird. They made Comanche and Shades gay. Now, first off, in the comics, they were just fools. They were both absolute fools. They were the bumbling idiots who were constantly like bumping into each other. They're like the Three Stooges, you know what I'm saying? But just two of them. They were idiots in the comic books. Like, who cares? Shades wound up getting a pair of sunglasses that were like Cyclops optic lenses, where he's like, doo, and shooting lasers. I'm like, come on, man. What are you doing here? I'm supposed to believe this nonsense? So Shades and Comanche were much cooler in the Luke Cage Netflix series than back in the comic books. I don't know what making them gay really added to this. Even at the end, when Shades is looking at that picture of him and Comanche when they were kids, I don't know that it necessarily added. It didn't detract anything. It was just kind of there. And I could see where they were trying to go with it. They were trying to show that there was a much deeper connection there, but no. And I just didn't get it. I didn't see it was that big a deal. There are quite a few guys, are only gay in jail. Yeah, see, I've fortunately never been to jail, so I don't know about it. Yeah, they said, what did Mariah say to him? Queer inside or gay inside? Anyway, whatever it is. Yeah, only gay while in jail. Like, I guess, I get it, whatever. It is what it is. But it was just, for me, like, I couldn't connect with that. I'm just like, My wife at first was like, oh, wow, because she thought it was going to be a very interesting addition to the story. And then later she's like, yeah, I get it. They didn't really do anything with it. I was like, yeah, exactly. You did 17 years. Wow, that's a long time. I'm sorry. We're going to have to talk about that in private. Go to Facebook. Excuse me. So, yeah, I just couldn't jump aboard that. I don't think that necessarily added anything to it. One thing that I do have to say that really did bug me a lot, and not that I hated it, but it bugged me. I get that it was important to try and feel good about it, but like Shades, I almost felt like he would have been better off joining up with Luke Cage. I understand that Luke Cage wouldn't have joined. Oh, the thing I want to talk about before. No, Luke Cage never did become in charge of Harlem's Paradise in the comic books. What he did become in charge of was he became the new Kingpin during the House of M storyline. So predating the original Marvel Civil War, and immediately following the Avengers Disassembled storylines in the comic books. Luke Cage wound up depositing, whatever the heck it's called. He got rid of the Kingpin of crime, Wilson Fisk, and he became the new Kingpin. And when the heroes came up and like, oh my, Luke Cage, really? You're in charge? It was like, okay, all of a sudden Luke Cage got elevated big time, and he became very important in the stories afterwards. That was that. It wasn't his crowning moment. That was his indoctrination into the big time when Luke Cage was made the Kingpin of New York. Excuse me. So that was awesome. So this was, to me, that was a good reference back to there. But in the end, when Shades ratted, it's like, okay, I get it. He's gonna rat. Cool. Do your thing, dude. And then he did everything he had to do in order to get Mariah into jail. And then while she was there in jail in Rikers, all that crazy stuff happened. A guard got killed. A prison guard got killed. Totally not cool. There was a pretty tough guy scene in there. Like, Mariah was just like, she just aced these people with the razor on the toothbrush. It's like, dude, are you kidding me right now? She's like, let me cut this girl who, carved my name into this girl who threw kerosene in my hair and just, and she's like a cousin. Wow, ruthless. 20,000 for each of you, 150 a year. You're on my side. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, Mariah was tough. So seeing her die at the end was like, oh man, I actually thought they were going to put her on par with the Kingpin. You know what I'm saying? Like when the Kingpin was in prison. Wow. So, jeez. So what happened was eventually Mariah did get killed in prison, and now they went after Shades. That was corrupt. Now I know corrupt isn't the right word to use because it's not. It's the law, and it's a thing in the law. But like as a guy who's planning on going into law here in Canada, um, that that felt like horrible procedure to me. All right, when you're actually in law, when you're actually a lawyer, one of the things that you have to do, in fact, oftentimes 80% of the law is dealing with procedure. Procedure isn't the case itself, it's the preamble, it's all the paperwork. It's saying, this guy actually didn't file on time, so the whole case has to be dismissed. Oh, the license plate number, there's a digit incorrectly placed on here, so my client was not, or didn't, so you did not have a warrant against my client because you went after this license plate, but you came after my client. You were supposed to go after that license plate. Yeah, but the name and all this stuff, no, sorry, the license plate number was wrong in here. So like all these different things that they use in procedure to mess with a case, to mess with a trial, to make sure it never gets to trial, or to delay trials, or to just really like antagonize the other lawyer, the other side and whatnot, which is going to make it very personal, mind you, but it is what it is. Um, I understand that. But when the police use that, the police are already in power, man. Like, they got all the power in the world. When you think about police breaking down unions, like busting up unions and whatnot, try busting up a police union. If the police ever have to, argue and say, look, we're not happy with with the unfair wages you're giving us, or this, that, or the other thing, so we're going to go on strike. You go up and try and break up their union march. Watch what happens to you. But they're more than happy to go and break up your union. I'm just pointing that out, dude. I'm simply pointing that out. It's facts. It's facts. So I'm not exactly like on the cop's side, but here, when you have the police using procedure to go and get someone, I understand how that's different from what Scarf did. Like, Scarf was a corrupt SOB, and I feel for him. It's like, these guys are clearly guilty of all these different things, but we can't get them on this. But I can always just plant a little bit of evidence and, all right, at least he's in jail. I don't think anybody wants to necessarily see that. I'm sure there's some people like, hey, whatever you got to do if you know he's guilty, but we have proper procedures to utilize in the law. It's important, all right? Especially when you're talking about having death row cases that, hey, they're not allowing any evidence in. They're not going to, suddenly take in DNA evidence and things like that. That's hurtful when you suddenly say, okay, well, finally, we're taking the DNA evidence. Oh, it turns out it wasn't this person, it was that person. Literally the day before or the day after the person actually got sentenced, got the death sentence enacted on them. That's something else, man. That's something else. Like, that's, oof. So I don't like to see that on that side. I also don't like to see it on this side. What they did was, Shades admitted to everything that he did, and that so that he could get immunity, so that Mariah Stokes would, and I loved it when she turned around, Mariah Stokes. That was fitting. That felt good. That was a really good feel-good moment. So he was trying to get Mariah into prison, and it worked. That's the whole reason why she was in Rikers. It's the whole reason why all that crazy stuff happened in that last season. It's the main reason why they got her and they were going to get her. Now, Rikers themselves couldn't protect her. They couldn't protect the officer who was assigned to guide her from here to this side to that side. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't protect the other inmates and all that stuff that got killed in the process. Couldn't protect anybody. It's like the most useless freaking prison system in the entire face of the planet, as far as I'm concerned, in the Netflix series at least. Isn't that the same exact one that the Kingpin went to and beat the crap out of the Punisher? And I mean, come on. So when she got killed, and then Misty and all these other guys came up, and they were like, gotcha, Shades. Sorry, you admitted to all this stuff, and your petition for immunity only counted if leading to the prosecution of Mariah Hill. Mariah Hill. Well, see, that's my innermost desire because I hate Mariah Hill in the comic books. No, Mariah Stokes. All right. So it's like so they arrested him because he came in and confessed everything, and and like it's not his fault. It's not his fault. Look, yes, he did all these crimes. Yes, he's a bad person. Yes, he deserves to go to jail. But in a way, is this any different than confession at a church? Let's just be honest for a second. If he were to go and confess to Daredevil's priest, he's not going to go to jail, and he can try and become a new, better person. So here he goes. He's like, okay, here's all the stuff I'm confessing to. You're going to be keeping a very, very stringent eye on me from this point on. If I so much as jaywalk, you're going to lock me up. So I've got to, run this straight and narrow. I can't try and do illegal stuff anymore. If I do, I'm in trouble. Like, this was supposed to be an exonerating moment for him, where he's trying to do good. He, by necessity, he's trying to get out, all this stuff. And then what happens? She comes in with this crap-eating grin. She's earned nothing. She did not crack any cases. She got a confession. She didn't get a confession in the interrogating room. No. He came in and confessed on his own. He turned himself in to confess. Even like all the silly little moments that she tried to get, it weakened Misty Knight's character for me in the Netflix series. Letting Darnell's mom, Comanche's mom, come walking in. Oh, hey, let's stand out here with the police detective, the acting deputy commissioner. Hey, let's stand out here. Go ahead inside and, listen. Oh, see, he just said he killed your son. He lied to you, to your face. That's right. And then put money on your table. Yeah, okay, so you want to go in? Let's go in. Would that happen in real life? Would that happen in real life? Would the cops just, like, what if she had a gun on her? I'm sure that they didn't go and, pat her down before she walked in there. I mean, like, let's be realistic. Do you think that they were going to pat down this old woman who they said, hey, come on in, because he happens to be in here? Like, you need that key card to get in, right? He's confessing to things. Let's see if he confesses to killing your son. Come on in. And then, once she's in there and she hears that, opens the door. Come on in and go up and face the guy who killed your son. Spits in his face. And Misty's sitting there. Look, it's a good moment, I guess, for the rest of us, but in reality, it kind of took, like, it's so funny. Here's this guy who can punch through walls and get hit by a car and laugh about it. But this actually brought it down for me big time, because I do want to see the law actually be followed. Misty Knight is the best detective in the Marvel comics, right? She's Batman, and she's nowhere near Batman's level. Let's just call a spade. But she's like our version of Batman. We don't have, or at the very least, the Question. You know what I'm saying? Without the conspiracy theories. She's that good. She's amazing at detective work. The Daughters of the Dragon, starting up her own version of Heroes for Hire, Nightwing Investigations, all of that. And here, she solved nothing. She could prove nothing. She got her reward by Shades coming in and confessing his crimes. And then, after the system failed to protect Mariah, then she comes in, we got you. Yeah, you do. On a technicality. And that's just really sad. She achieved nothing. There's, like, that smile that she had, I couldn't see it as anything less than cruel. You know what I'm saying? And that's what killed me. I don't know about over there, but here they don't let the family anywhere near the perp. No, exactly. Same exact thing here. Why would they ever let the family anywhere near this guy? Like, it just doesn't make sense. All of it. None of this stuff felt good to me. It all just felt like, You know what I'm saying? It felt like none of this was deserved. So Shades goes to jail. I'm hoping he gets off on a technicality in season 3. I'm hoping that we see him come back. They can't get him for double jeopardy. So if he, mind you now, if and double jeopardy is you can't be charged for the same crime twice unless you commit that crime a second time. So if he goes to jail and all of a sudden, oh, the paperwork was messed up, sorry, got to come back, or it turns out that this was messed up, whatever, procedure screws up, and then he winds up getting out, double jeopardy, he is now completely exonerated, and now he can laugh in Misty Knight's face. And what's she going to do? This is the reason why when she quit, I was very happy. Misty Knight's an amazing character, all right? Especially in this TV show for the most part, minus that last part I was talking about. Why? Because I was rooting for her for all the wrong reasons, all right? When she got shot in towards the end of season 1 in her arm, and it was like, oh, she might lose her arm. I'm like, yes, I feel so bad for Cherry, but that means she's gonna get the bionic arm. And then when her arm healed, it's like, oh no, she's gonna pull through. She's gonna be fine. I was like, no, she needs the bionic arm. And then in the Defenders, when she got her arm chopped off, I'm like, yes, she lost her arm. I feel so bad for saying that, but yes, she's gonna get her bionic arm now. And then when she quit the police force in this season, I'm like, yes, she's going to start up Nightwing investigations and become the ultimate detective, like Private Eye. Yes! I was so happy for that. I was so happy. And then all of a sudden she's like, yeah, now I'm going to become the new detective, the new, commissioner. It's like, no, I don't want to see that. So, oh man, like I'm rooting for her for all the wrong reasons. Like in real life, it would be so rude to cheer for all those things, but it's a comic book character, so I know what's coming or what's supposed to be coming. We'll see. But again, all in all, absolutely fantastic second season. This is definitely rewatchable. The first season is rewatchable. This is even more so. Like if you could literally just like go back and I'm gonna watch this from season 1, episode 1, all the way through to season 2, episode 13, because yeah, it was that good. It was just that good. So kudos, congratulations. Wow, loving it. And that's really it. Comic Book University. Class dismissed.